We are Wednesday, the 17th of July, and this is Sacred Segments. And the topic is the yoga of sound. I'll start by introducing myself and then we'll go around the group. My name is Alexis Constantinou. I'm a singer and founder of Sacred Segments. I should say co-founder. It started with a guy that is into shamanism, but he didn't continue with me. So I decided to carry it on. As well as being a singer, I have an interest in metaphysics and healing, which is kind of lifelong. I used to be a member of the Ethereal Society, where I became an initiate of holy mantra, and that's one of the subjects that we're going to talk about today. So that connects with sound, and as a singer, I became interested in spirituality through using sound, and realized that there was a spiritual connection, which was kind of an awakening point for me, and feeling a sense of the beyond through sound. So that's a little bit about me. Joe, do you want to introduce yourself next?
Sure. My name's Joe Malone. I'm a drummer, percussionist. I've been in London for 10 years. I'm originally from California. Spent close to 25 years in Las Vegas, Nevada, going to university and just being a drummer on the Strip there. And I've done a lot of touring. I was on tour with a Broadway show, like an extended world tour, where I was playing like 8 shows a week for months and months and months and months on end. I'll talk about that a little bit later, but yeah, so I've had some pretty incredible experiences with music and seeing how powerful it can be and how it can help people and heal people, including myself, so yeah, that's about it.
Thanks, Joe. Carl, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Carl Preisler. I'm originally from Ireland, retired. I studied chemical engineering and then worked in the IT industry for a big global media company. But now my interests are more aligned with spiritual development, holistic activities. I'm a trance medium, which means I allow my spirit guides to take over, possess me, you could say, so that they can come through and give wisdom and healing to the people who come to see me for lectures or for one-to-ones. I'm also a qualified clinical hypnotherapist, and I have a passion for the voice, particularly classically trained opera singers. So all my childhood, when I first heard my first opera at the age of 8, I was just fascinated by the incredible sound that those professional singers are able to produce, and the emotion that they can convey, and the drama. And so to me, that's something I turn to always for lifting my mood or whatever it might be, in good times and bad times. And I've also read some books on mantra and the use of mantra. I'm trying to think of the author's name, but there's one. So I was very much into reading about Buddhism and that before my younger years. So, came across it in many of its different forms. And of course, a lot of us use mantra in our day-to-day for clearing blockages, for calling on protection, and just for offering up praise and sharing the light with those around us. So it's a bit about me.
That's great, thank you. Elizabeth. You want to introduce yourself and then go straight into your.
Oh, sure. So I'm Elizabeth Kipp. I live in Lawrence, Kansas. I'm a stress management and historical trauma specialist. And under the stress management um, umbrella, I include yoga. The sound piece is kind of interesting. This group that we have here, my dad was a jazz drummer in a big band, so that's kind of fun. And I learned as a child to sing from the diaphragm, and I sang a lot as a child. And then I got into Kundalini yoga, and I was at a festival where we're all doing yoga, and they had a workshop on mantra, and I went and I took that workshop, and the woman that was teaching it is an opera singer teacher who teaches opera singers at the level of Pavarotti. And she's also a Kundalini yoga practitioner. And she was actually taught by Sanatam Kaur, she's won like a Grammy for her singing. And Sanatam taught her to sing from the navel point, which we'll talk about when I get into my presentation. The navel point is below the navel, right? It's a couple of inches below. And it's seen as a power center in like martial arts and yoga. And when I learned to sing from my navel point instead of the diaphragm, my voice changed. I was amazed. So I learned really to kind of, instead of just kind of singing, I learned how to project from the diaphragm, but I learned how to align and vibrate the body through the working with the navel point. So that was kind of fun. And mantra, and I teach mantra, and I teach mantra workshops as part of the work that I do. Also in stress management, was kind of fun is the yoga of sound. The neurophysiologists have discovered the power of sound in healing the nervous system, a dysregulated nervous system. So yoga and neurophysiology segue right into the middle of my practice. And so I'll bring aspects of that in today too. And I chose a specific mantra that is, it's spiritual, it's fun, and it actually is a beautiful grounding and regulating sound for the body. So we'll really get an experiences of vibrating the body. So that's kind of the background that I'm coming with. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah. So mantra. So we'll just start with the yoga of sound. We'll start with the Yoga Sutras. The first, and we'll just do the first three. There's 186 Yoga Sutras that were codified by Patanjali, I don't know, 2,500 years ago-ish. Nobody really knows when. And the first three are kind of, the first one is like this, it's the key to all the other sutras. So it's this, the first one is kind of like opens the door, and all the other ones kind of describe the opening the door. And the first Yoga Sutra translates into English as yoga is now. It's really translated as and now yoga. So there's a few ways you can take that. And now we begin the practice of yoga. Like we're ready to practice yoga could be an interpretation, and is an interpretation. When I hear it, it says to me, yoga happens now. Always in the now. So that's my reference point. So what a great opening to the rest of the 195 other sutras, because all of those things that they're describing happen in the now. So, or that's the yoga part. Second Yoga Sutra says the restraints, the mental restraints, or restraining the mental modifications, restraining the mental modifications is yoga. And the mental modifications are everything that drives the ego, right? The conditioning, the samskaras, the habits that we have, the stories that we tell that are sticky, that prevent us from having the now moment. Third sutra is, then the self abides in its true nature. So yoga is now, and the practice of yoga means to clear the things that are blocking you from experiencing your true nature. That's basically the first three sutras. That's kind of like Elizabeth-eyed, but that's the essence as I see it. So mantra is the vehicle. It's not the only vehicle, but it's a vehicle to help us clear the conditioning, release the samskaras. And I'm literally on I think today was day 52 of a 90-day practice on a very specific mantra that I'm using to help break a habit. And it's really cool the way it's working, because all I have to really do is sit down and do that mantra for 11 minutes. And it has such an effect on me that my life starts changing around the thing that I'm trying to switch, which for me was around food. So it's pretty cool. So I'm just saying, like, I don't just teach it, I actually practice this stuff, and I would never waste anybody's time with things that didn't work. All right. So mantra, the word mantra comes from two words, man and tra. And man means mind, tra means the heat of life. So ra means sun, and so mantra is a powerful combination of words which, if recited, takes the vibratory effect of each of your molecules into the infinity of cosmos, and it's called mantra. So mantra, chanting mantra, using the yoga of sound is one of the ways to actually practice yoga and being in the now. The other way, one of my teachers described chanting mantra, everything is a vibration. We're a vibration, and all energy is a vibration. So what we're really doing in mantra is, when we're doing the yoga of sound, is we're aligning the body in an appropriate way to vibrate a specific sound frequency, which takes us to a certain address. And we experience what it's like to be at that address. That's about as neutral as I can put it without any kind of spin. And so you experience what it's like to be at that address. And yeah, so that's an explanation of that. Now, there are a few benefits of tapping into the healing power of your voice. One, you enjoy the sound of your voice. Two, you learn more about who you are. Then it will take your musicianship to the next level because of all the practice, right? There are beautiful grounding techniques. These are practical teachings that the ancients have considered sacred. We heal negativity, and we live in greater contentment. Now, the thing about enjoying the sound of your own voice, it's taught that the most healing sound in the world is the sound of your own voice. And I work with people who, in a mantra class, they'll come in and first of all, we'll do an ancestral clearing for any blocks they have around singing, right? And we'll do one for the group later. A lot of people come in with blocks and burdens around their voice. Oh, I can't sing on key, or nobody wants to hear what I have to say, or somebody said whatever, or today for me, I've got a little bit of a gravelly voice. I'm really not at my best. It really doesn't kind of matter. It doesn't matter, because the most healing sound is the sound of my voice, right? And I have sat in classes where people are literally like this because of their nerves, and you can't actually vibrate the body effectively that way. So it's why I bring in the ancestral clearing first, because when they clear that kind of burden, then I can get them to sit up and put their shoulders up and open the heart, right? And then they've got full access to the lung and the navel point, right? So just kind of an important point about people get attitudes about how they sound, and let's just move past that. That's judgment, and let's just release that. And I'm not saying anybody here is doing that. I'm really just saying that in terms of just a general teaching. Now, the voice shapes our reality, and it has for many years since we were born. These techniques will help you tap into the inherent power of your voice in a way that maybe you haven't done before. Maybe everybody here has already worked with mantra, but maybe you'll have a new experience today because yoga is now. Here are the what I call the P's of tapping into the healing power of your voice. 1, power. We get that from the navel point. 2nd, posture. We want to have the body aligned properly so that we're in divine alignment. Next, penetrate so people can hear you. Next, prana. Engage the life force through the breath. Next, presence. Be here now. Next, pocket. The rhythm where you naturally sit rhythmically. Next, pronunciation. So we use in the yoga of sound, here's the thing, we use the tongue. That's part of what we're aligning the body, but we're also using the tongue. There's like 80 meridians in the top of the palate. And when you tap on those, you're stimulating the brain. So we use the tongue in all these little syllables that we say when we're chanting mantra. We're working the back of the throat, the front of the throat, somewhere in the mid mouth, and all those things. And I can tell you, we've done there's some crazy, wild, amazingly powerful mantras in the Kundalini yoga world that I couldn't really do here, but they're really fun. Anyway, we'll do one of them today. So, pronunciation, the tip of the tongue, the sword that cuts through negativity, right? Remember, we're working with negativity. Mantra, we use the tip of the tongue to cut through negativity. Next, projection. So we're penetrating, but we're also projecting our presence in our energy when we do mantra. And the last one is practice. So the navel, as I said earlier, is our power center. There's 72,000 meridians or energy channels in the body, and one of the places where they all meet is this place called the navel point, which is 2 inches down and 1 inch in from the umbilicus. So we want to, when we're doing that work, we want to actually sit up straight and find your navel point. As I said, it's 2 inches below and 1 inch in, and then just bring that in and up, and bring the pelvic floor in and up with it. And that gives you a sense of kind of where you're pulling your power from. Okay, just to give you an idea of what we're talking about. And we talked about the breath. It carries the sound, so we want to strengthen our lungs. We also want to talk of the pronunciation piece. I just want to bring that in. It's not so much about diction, but it's about the tip of the tongue. And as I said, we're accessing these meridian points. So, for instance, there's this word guru out there. It's G-U-R-U. And most people pronounce it guru, or maybe a rolled European R. But it's actually, well, it isn't a rolled European R, but it actually sits back on the tongue, guru, so that you're taking the tip of the tongue and tapping it on the back of the teeth there on the palate, guru, so that you actually get and we do a lot of wahigudu, 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 wahigudu. A lot of that. And so you're tapping, 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 and you get an effect. It's really interesting. Wahigudu means, wow, teacher that takes us from darkness to light. So it gives you an idea of just a little bit of the physical aspect of pronunciation. This part about projection, we can learn to navigate our own energy centers. We cultivate prana through the breath, life force energy through the breath. We use the navel, we use the sound current, we use our compassion, our pronunciation. When we put all these elements together, we're then able to experience the benefits of mantra through the power of our own voice. This is projection when we bring all these things together. And the practice is it's kind of interesting. I refine my pocket. My pocket actually changes as I work the same mantra. Like my natural pocket actually kind of shifted about 25 days into this 90-day practice I'm doing, and I noticed it. I was like, that's interesting. So how did that happen? My whole rhythm calmed down. So that was in. So I work at a fairly high baud rate. Just kind of, I have a rich day, and I kind of move through it pretty efficiently, but pretty quickly, and that can be stressful. So one of the things that helps keep me stay grounded and calm is doing a practice like a mantra enough times and practicing it, and then that shift in my pocket, it affected my whole life. So I'm actually moving at a little bit slower, calmer pace than I was. How many days has it been? However many days it was, 50 days ago, whatever, how many days it's been. Yeah, that's kind of interesting. So a little bit of that. And now I'd like to do an ancestral clearing around communication issues, around the throat, around the voice. And then we'll see if because there's just to clear any blocks anybody might have, or maybe in the lineage. And then we'll go ahead and have an experience of mantra. All right, here we go. So wherever you are, I just want you to sit comfortably and notice whatever you're feeling in the body as sensation, and just let these words pass over you. Higher power, Great Spirit, Mother Earth, Holy Father, Divine, Infinite, Oneness, Supreme Being, you're known by many names, and you are one. We thank you for the many blessings you rain down upon us. We thank you for always being here for us, and we humbly ask you, for us and all our ancestors throughout all space, time, dimensions, lifetimes, and incarnations, for any time we suffered because of the words of others, or for when they didn't speak up for us, for times others suffered because of our words, or when we didn't speak up for others, for the times we spoke ill of ourselves, and for times we didn't speak up for ourselves. Please help us all forgive one another and forgive ourselves. Please and thank you. For any time there was injustice, unfairness, or dishonorable communication of any kind said to us or us to others. For all the events that followed as a result of such communication. Broken families, broken treaties, stolen children or lands, raids, wars, holocausts, or other exterminations. For all the suffering and pain we experienced or witnessed others endure as a result of these actions, and for any time we were the cause of any such suffering. Please help us all to forgive each other and forgive ourselves for all that happened, no matter what it was. Please and thank you. For the times we went to trade with others for the benefit of the family, the tribe, or the community, and failed to come back. We came back empty-handed. For the times there wasn't enough to go around and we saw suffering, or others suffered because of our actions. For the times we tried our best to communicate our needs and the needs of our loved ones, and we felt we failed others or ourselves. For the times we lied, or times others lied to us. Please help us all forgive each other and forgive ourselves, please and thank you. For the times any of us felt unheard, for the times we were forced to stand quietly, endure being derided, discounted, mocked, denigrated, slighted in any way, taken for granted or unappreciated, and felt ourselves roar in deafening silence from inside of us. When will it ever stop? Or, Lord, how could you let this happen? For any time we felt the love of others, especially our parents, spouses, was conditional. Help us all to forgive each other and forgive ourselves for all that happened, whatever it was, for all of it, no matter what, please and thank you. For all accidents that happened during or right after we shouted with uncontrollable anger, or times we witnessed or were subject to accidents when others got angry. For all that we made it mean about us, them, anger, and our emotions. For any time we used our voices in anger, for bullying or in judgment of any kind towards ourselves or others, please help us all forgive one another and forgive ourselves, please, and thank you. Please help us see one another and ourselves through your eyes. Please help us to release one another and ourselves from any form of miscommunication and the resulting events in our lineage. Please help us see how you nourish us with your love, and please help us to so nourish each other now and forever. Please and thank you. Please and thank you. Please and thank you. And just take a nice big breath in and let it out and notice how that feels. Now let me get my speakers, my headphones. I can't play this over YouTube, but I can put it in my ears and it can help me. I'm going to share my screen now and just show you a mantra. We'll just do a few minutes of it, but you'll get a sense of it. It's this mantra here. Hummy hum, Brahm hum. It means we are one. So it has this spiritual meaning, and it'll take us to the address like that, energetically, vibrationally. Now, the way that we sing this mantra, the way we're going to do it today, is we take a breath in, and we're always chanting on the exhale, and we chant the first line on the exhale. We complete the exhale, and then we inhale again, and we say the second line. Now, this is very specific. This is really good at regulating the nervous system, regulating the toning, the vagus nerve, because we're going to use the back of the throat and the front of the lips. So it's hum, me. So the M is at the lips. Hum, me, hum. You should feel a little bit of buzzing at the lips. Hum, me, hum, Brahm, hum. So I want you to lean on that M as you're chanting, and I want you to notice where these sounds are located in your throat, just because we're working kind of with the whole mouth and the vocal cords, so it's kind of fun that way. Hummy hum, Brahm hum. So we'll do hummy hum on one exhale, we'll take an inhale, and we'll do Brahm hum on the other exhale. And I'm going to stop sharing now, and we'll just start. Everybody needs to mute except me so that we don't have a lot of chaos. Joseph, if you could hit the mute button there. And let me turn. I can hear him. Well, that's interesting. It doesn't look like he's muted, but he's speaking and I can't hear him. So.
He's coming through my sound.
Oh, okay. I see. Okay.
I'll mute again.
I'm not joining audio at all.
He's not joined to audio.
Okay. You guys are doing some magic over there. All right. So I want you to sit up straight. Sit evenly on both sitting bones, straighten the back, relax the shoulders back and down, and raise the heart. Bring the chin in just a bit so the back of the neck is flat and the energy can flow freely up and down the spine. Now we have access to the lung. Remember the navel point. and I'm gonna start the music, and I'm gonna start on an inhale, and you just follow as you can. All right. Me hum. Brahm hum. Me hum. Brahm hum. Now remember to fully exhale and fully inhale again. Me hum. Brahm hum. 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 Me hum. Now remember the navel point. Brahm hum. Me hum. Brahm hum. Me hum. Brahm hum. Me hum. Brahm hum. All right. And just sit quietly for a moment. Relax the breath. Feel the effects of the mantra throughout the body and your being. back to the present here with us. I can drop the link to that mantra in the chat on Facebook, our Facebook Messenger chat. That's a 22-minute recording, and I'm telling you, that is a journey. to work with that thing for 22 minutes with this recording is just like, oh my goodness. So very regulating, very grounding, and very interesting. For me, it's very enlivening, but I'm like expanded, but I'm solid. I'm centered. So that's kind of fun. Who else had an experience with that? I mean, you didn't hear the music that I did, but you had a chance to work with the sound.
I definitely did. Yeah, I felt expansion. I felt vibration throughout my whole body.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing it two ways. One with my palms up on my knees, and the other with a
Mudra.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
wisdom mudra, Gyan mudra. Yep. And you can do it like this too, because we're having a. The only problem with that is you have to remember when you do this, we are one, right? So you're having this unification moment. You need to make sure that you're sitting up straight and the heart is like raised and open, because you do this and you tend to do this. So you want to make sure you stay in the proper alignment. Yeah. So,
when you said remember the point,
the navel point.
navel point, and when I came from that point where I was doing the mantra, I felt very, very different. It felt very pointed and empowering.
Yeah, so what I do is just the breath, probably what you're experiencing. So you take the inhale and you expand the belly, and you allow the belly to expand on that inhale. And as you exhale, you're bringing the pelvic floor muscles up, and you're bringing that navel point in, and you're projecting the exhale through there. And that's a very different experience from just diaphragmatic breathing. And Alex, you might want to try that the next time you go to practice, right, with your choirs, unless you're already doing that. It's you find that you've already got an amazing voice. I mean, you'll find that it may change a little bit when you're referencing the navel point.
I will try that. Thank you. Did anybody else have that experience?
I've certainly felt the vibration and the kind of like a cleansing vibration that was very much around here. And afterwards, when we stopped, I had to kind of let it reverberate a bit. But I had a question, because I was wondering whether on the exhale, whether we would hold the bit for longer if we still have more breath. Because for me, I had lots of breath left still when you were.
Yeah, that's a practice. That's part of the, you want to lean on that if you can, and that's the wiggle room that you play with in the mantra itself. That's part of your practice. It's like, how do I work the breath, and how long is my exhale, and all those kinds of things, and what am I doing with the vowels? Yep, it's a great question. Yep.
And I found the back of the throat sound became cleaner or clearer the more I did it. And in my father was Danish, so in Danish language we use the back of the throat a lot in speaking. So
okay,
I'm quite familiar with like the muscles there. I'm trying to teach my niece how to speak Danish at the moment. She's got to do some like back of the throat exercise. We have very back of the throat R's and other sounds.
Well, you can give her this mantra to practice with, and she'll develop those muscles, right?
Yes.
My goodness, this was so much fun. I have to run a meeting, and so I have to scoot. And Alex, I look forward to watching the replay and seeing what you
Bye-bye.
do and all everyone else does. Thank you so much for inviting me here today. It's great hanging with you guys again, and have a great day.
Thank you so much.
I know.
Bye for now. How wonderful is that baby?
She really, you could tell she was really enjoying talking about the subject.
Yeah, yeah. Joe, did you have an experience that you wanted to share?
I felt like I felt it working the muscles in my throat. Like I felt like I was doing like repetitions of an exercise in a way, you know.
Like a music exercise.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
just like a muscular exercise almost. I could feel like a bit of a burn.
Yeah.
Just because I don't sing a lot, you know. I think
It was interesting that she said, well, I had the question about the timing, you know, when she was talking about pop, and like I wonder, you know, how it's evenly spaced and how you know, you start and finish it, because it seemed very, very perfect in its entry
well, she
and
was
its exit.
she was doing it to music, so the music is.
It's giving the timing.
I mean, when you're doing a mantra to a track like that, then the pocket is provided for you, I think, because you know, you can't really deviate from. I don't know what she was listening to, but it sounded to me like it was like steady, timing wise, you know.
Were you going to say something, Carl?
Yeah, I can somebody explain this term of pocket that she's referring to? Is it like beat or rhythm, or I've not heard this in this context before.
It's really funny because it's a very American sort of term for groove.
Oh, okay.
Have you heard the term groove
Yeah.
in relation to music?
Yes, yeah.
It's the same thing.
Yeah, from records, I guess, from old records, the needle has to go in the groove.
Yeah, get in the groove or get in the pocket. Like basically, being in the pocket means like when you're dancing and you're really feeling the music and you're
kind of being in the flow.
Exactly with the music, then you're in that pocket.
I've never heard that term before in that way. Interesting.
Yeah.
Never, ever.
Is that right?
Well, but it's a feeling.
Yeah.
And what I think what she was talking about is when you're doing mantra repeatedly, like mantra practice, you find your natural rhythm.
Yeah. I could imagine if you were dancing the waltz, you know, and you get into that where it just becomes you and the waltz become like almost the same. It's kind of a similar kind of feeling, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's a very physical sense of being connected to the rhythm and the tempo and the speed and everything, I guess. So
the interesting thing to me about pocket is that there are varying degrees of it. There are varying degrees of intensity of it. Like there are pockets that are so deep and so strong and powerful that when you're like, if you're playing music with someone and they have a really deep pocket, you can't help but align with them. And so even an inexperienced musician who doesn't really know how to play in good time will fall into that person's pocket and be lifted up energetically because the pocket is so powerful and so undeniable, and you can feel it. You really can feel it. And also there are players or bands, you know, whether it's an individual or a band, there are musicians where the pocket is so strong, when they stop playing, you can still feel it moving. It's like a massive energy echo.
I was equating it to a wave when you were speaking. felt like
Yeah,
a wave or an electromagnetic wave.
it's a
something
steady repeating pattern of energy.
an energetic wave, right? So I wanted to ask you if you were happy, Joe, to speak about your experience the next 10 minutes with both music and mantra.
Yeah, I mean, I want to specifically talk about when I was on tour with a show called Burn the Floor.
Oh, Burn the Floor, yeah.
Yeah, it's a ballroom dancing show. And I was, I had been on tour with them for about a year. We had, I think we had like a 2-week break, and then we went straight out again for another 40 weeks in the US, a 40-week tour, and playing 8 shows a week. And the show was so intense for drums because of that, you know, those styles of music are very drum intensive, and there were a lot of drum solos in the show. I was on stage performing every show, like the band was on stage. And it was just a lot of playing, and I ended up hurting myself over the course of weeks. I ended up getting tendonitis in both of my thumb joints, and it got to the point where I was having to tape the sticks to my hands. I would put the stick in my hand and wrap gaffer tape around like this, so the sticks were just, because I couldn't hold on with my thumbs, and I was playing just getting through the show like that. And so the show sent me to, we were in Pittsburgh for 3 weeks, and they sent me to a week of physiotherapy with a hand specialist. And we did, I mean, it helped a little bit, you know, it didn't heal me, but then so I kept working, and I started doing these exercises that the hand specialist gave me. And just because I was working steadily through it, I wasn't getting better. And so then I ended up having cortisone injections in the joints of my thumb, in both joints, like right there in my thumb joints. Yeah. And a couple weeks went by, not any real marked improvement. And I was still couldn't really play the show. And so they gave me a few weeks off. We worked it out to where we brought another drummer in, and I went to London. Alexis was with me in America, so we flew to London for a few weeks, and he took me to the College of Psychic Studies in South Kensington, and I went and had a reading with a woman, and she was pretty amazing, because I didn't really tell her anything. And I just told her that I was hurt, and that I was a drummer, and that I hurt myself and trying to heal myself. And she told me that in my last life, I was a Japanese taiko drummer, and that I was so spiritually connected to my drumming. And now I've lost that connection, and that's why I hurt myself. So she suggested that I find a way to reconnect spiritually to my music and to my playing. And so when we went back to the States and I got back out on the road, I started doing mantra before every show. I just started doing the AUM, and I would do it for 15 minutes right before the show. Just set a timer, do 15 minutes, and then walk straight on stage, right? I play. And one of the interesting things that happened after about a week of doing that was the percussionist in the show could feel it. He was like, what's up with you? What's going on with you? Because it sounds way more relaxed, and it sounds way more comfortable and smooth. Like he could hear something different in my playing, which I think is really amazing. But basically, doing that before every show, in about 4 weeks, my hands got better. And I healed my hands through playing. and which, you know, the playing was actually what hurt me, supposedly, yeah. And to turn that around and actually heal myself through playing, I thought was incredible. And you know, once I healed myself, I stopped doing the mantra before each show. And my hands have been fine ever since. So I think it was a combination of just being really focused, really in the present moment, really relaxed, and having that energy within me while I was playing, that healed me.
It probably helped realign your musculoskeletal system so that you were playing more, you know, I guess, healthily.
Just more relaxed, and I was focusing on just letting go of everything.
Yeah.
And letting go of any, although I was very comfortable on the show, I still had traces of fear and self-doubt within me, and just focusing on letting go of those things as well. And I think doing mantra every day really helped me, at least during that time of my life, really let go of those things. And I think it speaks to like the mind-body connection, you know, because I really feel like I hurt myself because of my head and not my hands, you know, and not my playing. It's just, it was all coming from up here. And once I found a way to release that while I was playing, I got better.
Mm-hmm.
It's really interesting that you talk about the College of Psychic Studies, because Carl went there and studied at the College of Psychic Studies.
Oh.
And it's also interesting that you're talking about using the same force that hurt you to heal you. And that's exactly what my focus is today in my course about positive intelligence. It's about using your mind to turn the damaging things into a healing force. And it is potentially just a switch of attitude, mental attitude, and applied thought. What are your thoughts of that, Carl?
Well, yeah, I mean, it makes a lot of sense because we know that if we have kind of limiting thoughts, whether they're fear-based or doubt or anything else, it just naturally creates tension in the body, even though it might be so subtle, you know, and it creates tension in the voice. People can hear it, you know, and once you kind of release that and give yourself up to abandonment or whatever and just let go, you know, the whole body can relax and then things can fall into place naturally, I guess. So it makes it makes a lot of sense. I know it's probably not easy to put into practice because we're all so, you know, conditioned to not go out into the world thinking that everything's just flowing and we're in harmony with everything, you know, so we have to keep finding the techniques and tools that we can work with to bring us back into kind of alignment with our center, with our own true nature, and alignment with the flow of the energy around us, so that we're not pushing against it, we're just flowing with everything around us.
Right.
Yeah.
Can I ask you, are you in Valencia?
No, I'm south of Valencia. I'm halfway between Valencia and Alicante.
That's very interesting because there's a chance that we might be flying into Alicante next week.
All right, yeah.
And going to Valencia.
Oh, I see. Okay. Oh, yeah. And driving up then, or what?
Well, maybe the train. The train.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
it remains to be seen yet, but we're going to make a decision over the next two or 3 days.
Yeah.
On Monday, we'll fly if we do come.
Okay. Do you know if you go to Valencia, the Holy Grail's in Valencia?
Oranges?
The Holy Grail.
Oh, what?
Oranges?
What? The actual Holy Grail?
Yes, the actual Holy Grail.
Is it?
Really?
Yes, the one that the Catholic Church believes is the actual Holy Grail is in a cathedral in Valencia.
Oh,
Amazing.
that's interesting. Which cathedral is that?
I can't remember. I'd have to look. But if you look in the tourist book, it'll tell you. But
Main one, is it?
yeah, it is one of the main ones. It's like everybody going there, and you have to pay to get in. And we saw it years and years ago, before we moved to Spain.
Yeah.
Like we didn't know until we were going into this church and looking around, like you do. People like to go into cathedrals, and then it's like, oh, what's this? Oh, it's the Holy Grail. Oh, it's the real one.
That's interesting. I thought the Holy Grail was a thing, but then there's different.
It's a thing.
Oh,
No, right?
I thought it was. I thought it was a metaphor for something within yourself.
Well, I mean, people use that too, but I mean, it's call it then the cup from the Last Supper, but
That's interesting. I wanted to ask if I could maybe spend 10 minutes speaking about two mantras. One of them is the AUM, and the other one is the Ganesh mantra, and then ask you, Carl, if you would be so inclined, whether you would bring your guide Katarang in, and we could ask him some questions.
okay, yeah.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to play a short recording and talk about the two mantras that I mentioned for the next few minutes. So hopefully you can hear this. Please let me know if you can. No. Okay, that's as long as it lasts. I'll play it one more time. So that is Swami Vishnu chanting the AUM and then the Ganesh mantra, Om Gam Ganapataya Namaha. And the first part is said to be the word, it's called the word, the AUM, and it's the sound issued from the sun. I can't remember how many minutes it is that it issues that particular sound, but it's the creative sound, and it contains all the other sounds within it. I was told that it should only be imparted by a master, otherwise the person that teaches it loses power. And when reciting this mantra, it should be done with extreme reverence, because it's so complete and such an ancient name in Sanskrit for the all, the divine, or oneness. And the second part, the Ganesh mantra, is something that Joe and I have used a lot. We used to, when we lived in Brighton, go to the beach and chant it on the beach. And it's said to be the remover of obstacles. And whenever we've used it, we've noticed a shift. Like we've used it in traffic, and traffic has cleared. I've used it at an airport, and a queue has reduced massively when I've been stuck in a very, very long queue. It really does work. And again, used in reverence and said in a way where it's done with a lot of intention is the way that I've been taught how to do it. So with the rhythm of the first part, the AUM, I was taught that it's 2 beats for the A. I beg your pardon, 4 beats, and then 2 beats for the U, and then 4 beats for the M. So it's 4, 2, 4. So it's oh, 4, 2, 4. That's how I was taught to do it. And with the Om Ganapataya Namaha, there's the long version and the short version. And the first version is Om Gam Ganapataya Namaha, Om Gam Ganapataya Namaha, and so on. Or there's the long version, which is Om Gam Ganapataya Namaha, Om Gam Ganapataya Namaha, Gauri Nandana Gajanadana, Om Gam Ganapataya Namaha. And there's different rhythms, there's different melodies that it's sung to. But as I say, whenever I've used it, it's really worked as a remover of obstacles. And it's a very powerful thing. Have you ever used mantras?
Yeah, I use the Ganesh mantra from time to time for similar things, or if it's blockages in bureaucratic stuff or whatever. Yeah, but more often I tend to chant the Gayatri mantra.
Oh yes, we've used that. We use that on our civil partnership.
Yeah, because that's supposed to be about bringing the light and spreading it out to the world, if I understand it correctly. So it's about it's got a more healing for the community focus than the Gayatri mantra. And then there's a few there's a few that I use, a few kind of Buddhist ones that I use. I guess there was a period where I was having troubling thoughts at night time, worries, fears, or whatever, and I would use the one to now the can't think of the name, but like was a chanter to a Buddhist teacher. It just lose me at the moment. But huh?
Nam Myoho Renge Kyo.
No, not that one. No. Oh yeah, Aham Padma Siddhi, Aham Padma Siddhi, Padma Siddhi Hum. So it was like to the Buddhist teacher Padma Siddhi. So, and he was it'll come to me when I need it, that's the thing. So a lot of times I would just sing the normal one, the jewel in the lotus one, which is my brain's gone completely blank. Pardon?
Om Mani Padme.
Yes, Om Mani Padme Hum, and that one. But the other one, then, if I was particularly troubled, I would say do the other one, which was Om Hum Padma Guru Padma Siddhi Hum. Om Hum Padma Guru Padma Siddhi Hum, I think it is.
Om Hum
Padma Guru Siddhi Hum.
Padma Guru. Say it again, please.
Padma Guru Siddhi Hum.
Padma Guru.
Because the teacher is Padmasambhava. So it's a mantra to Padmasambhava, who is one of the Buddhist kind of enlightened teachers and bodhisattva types.
And what does this particular mantra do, that one?
It's just calling on him to come for his energy and protection.
I've noticed that mantras really, really, really hold a lot of power.
Let me see if I can. And I the book I was thinking about before, which I have, it's a book called Healing Mantras by Thomas Ashley Farrand. Is one I got years ago. I don't know if you can see it there.
Oh,
Nice.
beautiful. I'm going
So
to
and it's
mind holding that up one more time, please. Thank you.
I don't know if you can get any more, but there's a CD with it, and but there's a lot of mantras in there for different healing purposes and stuff. Let me see if I can find the one about Padmasambhava. Oh, here we go. Yes, Padmasambhava mantra. Oh, there we go. Yes. Aham Vajra Guru Padma Siddhi Hum.
Bhadra Guru Padmasambhava. That's
Yeah.
yeah. That I knew we weren't saying it right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Aham Bhadra Guru Padmasambhava.
So Vajra, which is like the Vajra, which is the thunderbolt, so and the Vajra Guru means he's like the all-powerful guru. So that would be the one. And the meaning of it is, oh, it's a long thing here. But that I would say, if I was frightened at that event. I can't remember what was like. It'd be maybe when I was doing part of my training or whatever. But if I felt there were forces around me that I didn't want, I would chant that to keep my mind at ease.
Focused on the light, or
And no, just to banish those like disturbing thoughts or fearful thoughts.
I see.
Because I guess that's one of the benefits of mantras, that you focus on the mantra and you can push anything else aside.
Do you remember what Elizabeth's mantra meant?
She says, we are one.
Okay. And do you remember the mantra?
Hum me, brahmi, hum. Hum me, hum, brahmi, hum.
Thanks.
I guess she'll share the link, but it was, yeah. Hum me, hum, brahmi, hum. Yeah. There's another one we used to sing when I was doing the, because I was in a Kabbalah group, kind of an oral teaching Kabbalah group, where we did the Tree of Life exercises. But when we were doing certain acts, we would do the Soham mantra. And so I do think mantras are powerful. I haven't explored them to the full extent because I guess part of me gets bogged down in the disbelief of the effectiveness of some of it, I suppose. But
what did you learn about the Soham mantra?
It was just kind of like what was it? I don't know why my brain is so bad, but it was more of a kind of a we are one type mantra, but it was also an I am type mantra. I am that I am. So connecting with the I am, with the Godhead. So it was all of those things. It's just both connecting with your brethren, you're singing it, but you're also connecting with that one Godhead.
Mm-hmm. And do you remember the full mantra? Do you remember?
It's just so hum.
Oh, just
so yeah, we just repeated so hum, so hum, so hum.
I see. Okay. So for the remaining time, I wonder whether we could please bring Kataran in to ask him some questions.
Yeah.
Just until past.
Okay, okay.
Hello, Katura.
So long, so long. And
It's-
this one, lazy, 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 not doing any work.
So we've asked you here. Thank you for coming to join us again.
We enjoy so much sharing our knowledge, our energy, our light with everyone.
Wonderful. Thank you. Well, we need that. We need that light. We need your energy. And I have a question for you with regards to time and the future and the past and now. In your realm, do you see the future?
So, it's very interesting because here in my realm, in my time, in my experience, so what I am perceiving for me is very different to what I'm perceiving for your energy, because my energy on a different plane, a different vibration, much, shall we say, faster, vibrating in different ways. So, for me, I see possibilities. I don't see the future in full detail, but I see the kind of, how do you say, it's like when you, in your world, you drop the pebble in the ocean and you can see the ripples expanding, expanding, expanding. So also, it's a little bit like this for us. We can sense our energy causing the ripples in the environment. And as we become, shall we say, attuned to the delicate nature of those ripples, we can, you could say, see how they are impacting a little bit in the future. It's not really the future, but we are seeing the impact of this vibration until it kind of dissipates. And in your world, when we are looking at your energies, your vibrations, we see in a similar way all the activities that you are doing. They are creating an energetic vibration around you. And those ripples, the kind of resonance, the vibration that is carrying out into the physical world. Again, we see those too, but we see them slightly differently because your energy is at a different rate to ours, and we have more, shall we say, insight to some of the energetic mechanisms of your three-dimensional world. So that enables us to make some forecasting, you could say, about what will happen as a result of certain things. It is not really looking into the future. It is observing the present, understanding the energetic frequencies that are being created, manufactured in this point of time, and how those frequencies are impacting the surroundings, impacting the people, impacting the physical environment, impacting your energetic environment, and all of this. So you could say we are seeing the future, but we are only seeing the effects of the present as far as we have the ability to do so. And some great masters who have much more sensitive attunement to these things can see further, you might say, in time. But humble people like myself have limited ability.
And you say we. Are you in communication with other beings?
Well, of course, I am not here alone.
Are there many? Are there many beings altogether?
In spirit?
Yes.
Countless, countless, countless.
Okay. And are there realms beyond your realm that you are aware of and that you can see into?
So, okay, for me, it is like everything is vibration. So when you talk about realm, somehow maybe I'm thinking through my channel's mind. He is thinking of physical locations. For us, there is no such thing as physical location. All the universe is energy. all the universe is vibration. As we go down into the slower vibrations and into the physical manifestation of energy, yes, then there becomes a, shall we say, solidification of energy, of matter, and matter then is in a different physical universe, has difficult physical laws, shall we say. It is all the same energetic universe, but subject to different physical laws. But in our energetic plane, there is no limit to the expansion of energy. There are different, shall we say, I couldn't explain it like this to you. You look at a piece of music, a score of music, and you see many, many notes, and you have an orchestra playing a symphony. The universe is like a symphony, but it goes on forever and ever and ever without end. But in the symphony, there are thousands of different notes. And each of those notes is like, you could say, a realm for you, but they are still part of the symphony, and they are still only a change in vibration, but they have a color and they have a tonality. And so they have qualities that are particular to their vibration. And one could say that is a realm, a dimension, or so forth. But in effect, it is a different musical note. It is just music. It is just vibration.
So in your communication, because this particular focus today is about sound, and I'm imagining that you communicate telepathically, but do you also communicate through sound?
So we communicate through good question. I feel it is more accurate to say that our communication is not so much telepathic, which has to do with the brain, but is more to do with the heart and with emotion and with the spiritual senses, which are beyond telepathy. They are communicating through understanding. So it is not so much as a sharing of thoughts, but a sharing of understanding, a sharing of when we come together to collaborate, you could say, in a certain purpose, we are merging, one could say, as one for this particular purpose. And so our energies produce a synthesis that is, like you could say, maybe you might say in your term, mind meld. So there is not a separation of thoughts, so that there must be a transfer of thoughts, but there is a coming together of consciousness, so that there is a sharing of information. So it is not so much that we are working telepathically, but we are connecting energetically, so that our thoughts are free-flowing all amongst us together. Can you comprehend this?
Yes, I understand. I understand. There's a oneness in your communication.
Yes, it's a oneness.
Yeah.
But yes, within this oneness, we are individuals. And so again, I suppose it's like in the music analogy, we each have our own voice in the piece of music, but we are coming together and we are creating something. It is difficult to describe in terms that make sense to the physical universe.
Music is a great analogy. When a piece of music is played, it has many instruments, many voices, and yet it's one thing.
Yes.
So, great analogy for me to understand. I have a separate question for you, which is to do with healing and changing a situation or healing a situation that is discordant. When a situation is discordant, is it possible for an individual to bring that situation into alignment through willpower?
Hmm. Okay. Good question. As usual, I think I might have some controversial aspects to my answer. So, I have to say yes, and I have to say also that most commonly the answer is no. The the yes answer would have to do with those who are practicing, you could say, high magic and have developed the ability to impress their will through ritual and other forms of energetic manipulation onto the external world.
Mhm.
And so in these cases, those highly trained and skilled people are using particular techniques, trainings, ritual, and so on to bring their will to bear on particular energetic components, physical components, their external world. For the normal person, this is beyond their reach, and so they are best suited to working energetically to bring their energy and the energy of the situation closer together and to find what is to be the harmonious connection between those two situations. Because there is always something to be learned from these challenges. And as we begin to open our eyes and our energetic body to the lessons that are to be learned, we will sense a subtle changing in the energies of ourselves, our attitude, our giving and taking, you might say, but also the energy of the situation. And they become more malleable, you could say, into coming together into a new evolved form that may not be quite what you were expecting, but is still more aligned with the true purpose and spiritual lesson from that situation.
That's very helpful. Thank you. I want to ask Joe if you have any questions for Kataran.
No, sorry, I don't.
Okay. I want to ask Kataran if you have any question for me.
No, only I have some gift for your friend. For his heart, I feel is very open, and he must embrace this quality of his nature and not shy away from it. He sees maybe it is a sign of weakness to be too loving, too, shall we say, giving, but it is a sign of strength. And we sense great strength in his giving of his teaching, of his knowledge, of his energy to those with whom he works and comes into contact with. He is a natural healer in his own way and should acknowledge such.
Yes, I have felt this. I've felt he has very strong healing energy.
So question for you. No, I have no questions. Only I am here to answer and to offer always my ability to bring through information and also to bring through light and healing power to share with you, all, to share with the world, to help you achieve your goals, to help you raise your vibration. Because as we are connected here now in speaking, we are also connected energetically. And as you sit and relax, you can feel the energy shift in your physical form, in the space in which you are sitting. And as you give in to that feeling of allowing yourself to, shall we say, relax your barriers ever so slightly, so also then more energy from the heavens can come into you. And we can help to kindle within more little sparks of divine lights, lighting the fire of inspiration, the fire of devotion, the fire of wisdom, the fire of love, the fire of compassion within.
This is very beautiful. Thank you. Okay. Well, we've reached past.
So we will now wrap up. Just still channeling some energy to you for now. One moment.
Thank you. Thank you, Katarang. I can feel it.
Okay. Now we are done. Bless you.
Bless you.
Thank you.
And thank you from both of us. And thank you, Carl. Yet again, another beautiful session. Amazing. Thank you, Carl. How do you feel after when Katarang leaves, even though he's not really left?
Well, it always gets me hot, physically hot. So my body heats up. How do I feel?
Is it
It's
energizing?
more how I feel when he's here, because that's a much nicer feeling.
Yeah.
But when he's within me, I obviously feel his energy, and so I feel more connected to the all that is, and I feel more. I guess it's a gift, because we like those moments when we feel we are good, or whatever it might be, whatever that term might be, or feeling positive. So
Yeah.
when he's in me, all I can feel is positivity. So that's a very nice thing. And then when he's gone, it's just like back to normal me. But I can feel, I suppose, a little afterglow for a while.
Yeah, I can feel
Yeah.
it, see it. It's wonderful.
I hope you felt the energy exchange.
I really did. I really still feel it.
Because yes, that's what I think is his greatest gift, that when we do, like, in person, and people can feel the energy, not his energy, but he's just acting as a channel for the God energy.
It's beautiful. Thank you. Okay, well, it's great to see you. Thank you so much for this today. Yeah, and it was very interesting.
Yes, I think we could do more on sound, because we only touched the surface. I mean, I don't know if you listened to any of Jonathan Goldman's CDs.
No, I don't know him.
Oh, call yourself a musician that's like interested in sound and stuff.
Oh, dear. So I need to take a note of him.
I'll show you what they look like. So he's got chakra chants.
Oh, okay, maybe. Okay.
So he does music. So like for each of the chakras, there'll be a vocalization at a particular frequency, and different seed mantras, I guess, being sung that let me just, I can play you one because it's on my phone, one of them.
Is it something you listen to in the day or when you go to sleep? Or
I wouldn't listen to them at going to sleep. I would listen to it probably during the day. So this one is for the solar plexus. Just move it a bit along. So like if you had a whole hour to sit and like and listen, you'd go through all your chakras basically to like flush them. I guess this is like, you know, taking drain on blocker and, and using it on your chakras. But there's a, you know, he's done lots of CDs about, he's got an I Am one, and so, and then this is one of my favorite ones. So this is Premal, who do the Gayatri mantra.
Eva Premal, yeah.
Yeah.
We listen to her a lot.
Yeah, I love her Gayatri mantra.
That was the one that we had played at our civil partnership.
All right, yeah.
You
And
know,
you know, Cher sang that in the concert.
yeah.
Yeah. So Ron and I went to her third final farewell concert, whichever one it was, you know, because she did a few, and she comes out and she's on this big kind of puppet type elephant, and she's singing the Gayatri mantra.
Wow. Well, there's a place in California, in Los Angeles, called Agape, the spiritual center, run by Dr. Michael Beckwith, and gospel choir there sang the Gayatri mantra, and we were watching this program, Battlestar Galactica, the remake.
All right, yeah.
They used the Gayatri mantra, which is the oldest recorded prayer, of course. It's the first ever recorded prayer on Earth.
Oh, right, I didn't know that.
Yes, and they sang it as a choir, and it's been kind of instrumental as a piece of music that keeps coming to us. So it's really interesting that you are finishing with the Gayatri mantra, because it's kind of like the beginning and the end. It's the place to start and to end.
So one of the things, the question I'd have Elizabeth next time is the difference between vocalizing the mantra and saying it in your head.
Well, apparently, according to Dr. George King, who is a master of yoga, he talks about this, is that when you say it in your head, you can only do it if you're very, very advanced, and you have to bend the tongue backwards until it physically hurts, where you kind of like press it backwards with the roof of your mouth, so it's like flipped over on itself, and it's to stop all the nerve endings, so that you have like complete precise laser focus.
Yeah,
you're not thinking anything else. Otherwise it can damage you if you think it in the wrong way.
Yeah, you have to do that also with the microscopic, the microcosmic orbit in Tai Chi, which is interesting, because also what Elizabeth called the navel point is the same as the Tandian that's talked about in Qigong and Tai Chi.
It's really interesting. The navel seems like the main area of power, because it's very near the solar plexus, right?
It's below it, yes, and it's more internal.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
Yeah, so that's where all the Qigong artists store up their Qi. It's in there. It's in that navel point.
And how amazing to use it for singing, right? How amazing to be aware of it and sing.
Yes, but it's hard to keep those muscles contracted, I would imagine, like while you're singing.
I think it's more of a focus thing and a breath thing, because I've described it as I've been teaching singing, but never with the awareness that it is a spiritual point.
Okay.
Yeah, it's interesting. I've learned a lot from today. Okay, well, anything that you want to say before we close? No.
I'm good.
Say again.
I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you as well. And thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Yeah. Nice to meet you, Joe. Finally.
Cheers.
And my regards to your partner.
Thank you.
And have a good evening. And
Yeah.
yeah, if we're in your neck of the woods, I'll let you know.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it's about an hour and a half to get into Alicante from here. And in this weather, it's a bit hot.
Quite far away.
Yes. But well, you never know.
Heard from Anna.
Yeah. She's in a different town now.
Where is she?
She's in Denia, which is kind of halfway between where I am and Valencia. So on the other side of the nose that's sticking out towards Ibiza, we're on the point of the nose.
I see.
And yeah, so she's I mean, maybe you should have you stopped recording?
I'll stop the recording now. I'm just looking where to do it. So stop recording. Stop recording.